What's up? This is the Wolf Pack. Was Prohibition just a movie? The Untouchables was a great movie. Boardwalk Empire is a great TV show. Watch them if you haven't. But why am I bringing them up beyond recommending them? Learn about Prohibition and the effect it had on the mafia in America. So they were around before that. They had various rackets they operated. But then the American government decided to outlaw alcohol. So obviously no one ever drank alcohol again. Everyone in America went to bed at 9 p.m. from that moment on. So you have a brain, you know that didn't happen, and was never going to happen. So what did happen? Well, alcohol was outlawed, so criminal gangs took over the distribution, various gang wars over the major cities across the US. Drive-by shootings, fire bombings, gang shootings. Gangs making crazy amounts of money. Am I still describing Prohibition-era America? I am, but I can understand why you might be questioning it if you live in Australia. A very similar thing is happening in Australia, but with tobacco instead of alcohol. And sure, tobacco hasn't been outlawed, so you can still buy it legally. But it's being taxed to the point that honestly it might as well have been outlawed. The same result has been achieved. Black market control. So, Australia has always had a tax on cigarettes. But they've just let it constantly rise and rise. There were always black market products. You could find people buying boxes of smokes that didn't have all those health warnings. I don't smoke, but I knew smokers, so I saw all this stuff. But within the last few years, it seems like the black market has really exploded, no pun intended. It went from being they had a few boxes at the shop, and would sell it only to the people they knew. Literally once, I was at the shops with a friend, he wanted to get smokes, so I walked with him. I stood at the door, since I don't smoke, but the shop owner could see me. I was there in a plain black shirt, sunglasses, and my mate asked him for whatever brand he was looking for. Rothman or something. The ones that were known for being really cheap. Anyway, the shop owner looked at me, and gave the prepared speech, "Oh no, we don't sell those are illegal." Dude must have thought I was a cop. I just laughed, like okay. My friend was like man, and had to go to a different shop. I said I'd stay away from that store so I don't scare the dude. He got them. But big difference. Now, you can go to any smoke shop. They advertise the boxes just like that. They don't even pretend like they used to. Because there's so much out there, there's no point. It's a flood. The legal packets are some ridiculous price because the prices keep going up. $50 or $60 a pack. I don't know. But they say the illegal packets are like $15. That's a ridiculous difference. At any point, what is the everyday person going to pick? Even if you try to say oh but the other packet is legal. Okay, that can work if the difference is much smaller. The legal packet is $20, then okay. You can afford to be moral. But $40 difference? You can try to moralize the issue all you want, but people want to keep their money in their pockets. Why would you pay $50+ for something you can get for $15? Especially when the economy is tanking and every dollar kept in your pocket is needed. You can't blame the regular Joe who just wants to smoke. People have known smoking is bad for years. The world isn't Mad Men where everyone is smoking everywhere. The smoking rates are down, so people smoking now won't be swayed. Criminals are doing what they are expected to do in this situation. They saw an opportunity, and took it. They were able to get a flood of smokes to come in, to feed a market. That's what black markets do. And on its own, I wouldn't think too much about it. Unfortunately, all the public place violence and recklessness of it is the reason why it is a major problem. They're obviously fighting for market share, and there's obviously lots of money to be made. But they are paying people to do these things, who are doing it recklessly. If it was the old school criminals, it wouldn't be as crazy. But we keep seeing all of these things. How many police car chases and innocent people getting caught up in car accidents? How many wrong houses getting shot up? Normal everyday people shouldn't be worrying about this stuff, especially when this problem can be easily solved. It's not more police, though there should be to catch these criminals doing these acts in public. Literally, just cut the tax. Legal cigarettes go back to competitive prices, and boom, you drain the black market pretty quick. Black market drained. Hit the criminals in the wallet. No money to pay punks to do these crimes. No black market, no battle for control of said black market. Illegal cigarette stores close. Literally. All pretty quickly sorted. But of course, we can't do that. We have a Labour government. Their answer to everything is to tax everything into oblivion. Even when the results are things like this, all the crime. Nope. We can't cut taxes because taxes are the Labour way. Throw all sorts of money at the problem, more police, more tobacco enforcement agencies. Even though there's constantly cries about how much money the budget is losing because people are buying more illegal smokes, so legal smokes aren't funding the tax coffers. I know it's a difficult concept for Labour and their supporters to understand, but more taxes eventually stop providing funding as people eventually stop or reduce the amount they consume of the product. Billions bleeding from the budget, it didn't just disappear into the ether. The money went elsewhere, in this case, the pockets of criminal groups. Funding all sorts of other crimes. A bunch of violence we don't need. We could literally starve the beast, but if Labour admits failure on this one, eventually they'll realize their tax everyone everywhere policy does not help the everyday person. They think they are entitled to your money. Work harder, peasant. Pay for our terrible policies. So what happened after prohibition ended? Well, the criminal groups had made lots of money, so they were flush, but this was a hit to their wallets, so they were down for some time. Soon after they shifted to drugs. But that's a whole other thing. Australia already has that. So what would happen? The criminal groups would go back to their old trick of ripping off government schemes, as always happens. The government gives out money, people defraud it. But that's a whole other topic. But tobacco tax needs to be reduced fast. Hit the wallet of criminals, cut their revenue streams and help the ordinary person. But that's not the Labour way, so I won't hold my breath. Remember to do the good old YouTube thing. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Appreciate you all. Until next time. Stay sharp. Stay hungry. Welcome to the pack.